I'm recording for myself, don't worry. Okay, now when you talk about this, the process of conversions of complex food into simpler absorbable food. What is absorbable food? We are making from starch to glucose. Then glucose can be used as a energy resources. So what is the digestion over here? Conversion of complex to simpler one. This is very clear to you. Now it's called the digestion. By digestive system, by mechanical and bio. What is mechanical? Mouth is act like a mechanical here. Mouth is act like a mechanical because it's able to do these small pieces of the food. And then biochemical, the enzymes will be acting on it. This point is very clear. Now, digestive system is included in a human digestive system consists of the alimentary canal. Alimentary canal is also called a GIT. What is GIT? Gastrointestinal tract will be there. It started from the mouth and end with the anus. Okay. So let's go further and try to understand each and every function. Alimentary canal begins with the anterior opening of the mouth. Only one sentence was there, but in it, how many sentences are there? Okay. So opens out the posterior through the anus. It comprises of the following part. First is mouth. Leads to the oral cavity. Which cavity? Oral cavity will be there. Okay. Which contains teeth and the tongue. What is the function of teeth? Mechanical function will be there, right? And tongue will be helping to those things, mechanical things. So upper surface of the tongue has a small projection called the papillae, some which contains the taste bud. How many tastes are there in the world? One taste is there, you can't even tell how it is. That is called? Okay, tell me the answer. You're telling me spicy, the spicy taste is there. Unani taste, unani is there. Okay, this is a question from my side. That's a question from my side. You have to study and tell me in the next class, or you can Google it right now also or afterwards. What you have to do? How many tests are there in the world? Okay. Now, each teeth is embedded in the socket of the jaw that is called the codon. Milk teeth is replaced by the permanent or adult teeth is type of the dentation is called the diphthong. Okay, there are 4 types of different things. Now, let's talk about this. The teeth, what's that? Heterodont are the incisor. What is incisors? So incisors, canine, premolar, and the molar. But I think so only molar is responsible. Molar is more responsible? No. No. The first incisor should be there so you can grab your prey, ideally. Then canine and the premolar are there, combinedly they start the making the pieces. And obviously in case of molar, the more pieces can be. Okay. So dental formula. What is dental formula? Each half of the upper and the lower has the following number teeth. 2, 1, 2, 3. 2 is what? 2 incisors. 1 will be canine, 2 will be the premolar, and 3 will be molar will be there. So upper and lower will be there. What is pharynx? Tell me, what is pharynx? Correct. Oral cavity opens into the pharynx, which acts as a common passage for food and air. So we have a common passage for food and air. Why such a modification? If this is not working, we can take air from there. But it is not that much efficient. Why? Just for survival. Okay. For temporary survival, we can say that. Now it's made up of the cartilaginous flap. That's why I told you now, if you engulf the saliva, something is opening and closing. That cartilaginous flap called a epiglottis. Epiglottis is not a sound box. You got the answer? Epiglottis is just near that, but it's not a sound box. Prevents the entry of food into the windpipe, that is glottis, during the swallowing. It may happen that we're watching a movie and something, we get a problematic something. What's that? Because accidentally the food has gone through the windpipe. So it is very difficult. So body is giving the triggers. Body is giving the triggers, right? Hiccups like action is there. Let's come back. Okay, now the stomach. Stomach is what? Esophagus leads to the stomach. Stomach is a sac-like structure. Stomach is a sac-like structure. The opening of stomach is guarded by the sphincter. Sphincter. What is sphincter? Upper sphincter and the lower sphincter will be there. Upper sphincter will be the acid should not be go, otherwise burning sensation will be there. And the lower sphincter will be there for what? For the reason is that whatever the content is should be go properly and smooth way. Otherwise, what going to happen? Without digestion, it can be moved forward. It will be problematic, right? So small intestine is the longest part of alimentary canal. Who is the longest part of alimentary canal? Or can I say area of absorption? Yes. Can I say that? So it can be divided into the duodenum, jejunum, and the ileum. The first duodenum part is there, which is responsible for, see, stomach, whatever they're there, they come into a duodenum part. Duodenum part is the area of digestion, because bile is coming from liver and pancreas is coming to the duodenum part, where we can say emulsification of the fat globules is going to happen. So majority of the digestion start with the what carbohydrate salivary amylase. Then inside the stomach pepsin is there. Then the fat lipid is going to digest in where? Duodenum. So duodenum is a part of area of digestion, and the jejunum is a part of absorption, and ileum is not part of anything. I'm like, that's the last part, connects to the larger intestine. So pyloric sphincter is present between the stomach and duodenum. Large intestine, ileum opens into the large intestine, which is divided into the caesium, colon, and the rectum will be there. Caesium is a we can say blind sac. What is blind sac? What is blind sac? What is stomach is a sac? Stomach sac is what? We can say that this is a sac. S kind of thing. Blind sac means what? It is just storage thing. Okay. So what we can say, blind sac which host microbes. Which host what? Microbes. Which microbes? E. coli. Vitamin B12 we are getting from here. Body is not able to prepare the vitamin. We have to take from resources, right? But inside the body, there are good bacteria called E. coli are responsible for the production of vitamin B. Symbiotic association. They're getting shelter over there. They're getting food from the digestion only, right? They absorb something and that's why they are returning vitamin B12 over there. So vermiform appendix arises from the casein. What is vermiform? What is appendix? I told you from last time. What is appendix? Suppose I'm continuously eating these nails. They are not undergo digestion. They're going to saturate or accumulate on the particular part. Now tell me one thing. If this is a pipeline, the waste is going like this, okay? But if I'm putting more waste, it's going to create problem on this area. Even you can see rivers are turning like this, right? This area is much more spreaded. Why? More pressure is coming. And so similarly, when this part and the large intestine is getting stomach and this part is getting attached, there is something this side, so it's get accumulated there, and it leads to what? Formation of appendix. I'm going to show you it. Okay, now tell me one thing. This is what? A large intestine. This is a large intestine. This is a smaller intestine. Can you see that? From here, it's coming, food is going here. But now can you see that this part is below? So accumulation of the food can be takes place. Now, as the accumulation is take place, there is a formation of pus. There is a formation of unwanted thing. So they start pushing this wall of the large intestine outward. So there is a appendix will be there. Now, what happen if the appendix is going to burst? All the pus. Tell me one thing, we get a root canal. Why? Because there is a pus inside the gums, we can say, right? If the gum is paining because of the pus, what is the pain is there? Similarly, the pain will be here. And it is bursts. This is outside. You can just wash it off. That is okay. But in this case, you can't wash it off, right? So what's going to happen? It's create a problem to the other organs. So it has to be surgically removed off. Otherwise, it will be create a problem. So surgical method has to be incorporated to remove the appendix. Okay, so when I'm talking the area of absorption of the food it will be duodenum. No, duodenum is area of digestion, jejunum is area of, and ileum is connected to caesium, where the appendix can be, chances are there. So vermiform appendix arises from the rectum opens through the anus. What is rectum? Storage of the undigested food. Okay. Now let's go further. What is that? Serosa. Okay, the first layer is the serosa will be there. Then muscularis is there. There's mucosa, and lumen is there. What is that? Alimentary canal means what? This is a, can you see that alimentary canal perform the peristaltic movement? If you have a, like on, suppose on 2 o'clock you have a food, always. What happened to this GIT tract, they know on particular time you get a food. So they start peristaltic movement before. So sometime you skip the 2 o'clock food, then what going to happen? You get a voices from the stomach. Happens. So why? A peristaltic movement. They are ready for the digestion, right? So what is that? Can you see that this muscularis? This is actually undergo contraction relaxation, contraction relaxation, and the bolus is okay. Suppose this is a bolus. If there is a contraction, it will be squeezed to this side. Yes or no? Yes. Okay. Similarly, so histology of alimentary canal, we have to mostly talk about the submucosa and muscularis. Muscularis is mostly responsible for contraction and the relaxation. This is the outer line for the protection. Now, the wall of the alimentary canal from the esophagus to the rectum consists of 4 layers. First is serosa. It is the outermost layer. Outermost layer always for protection purpose, right? For a squamous epithelium. Why squamous epithelium? Again, what is squamous epithelium? See, I give the hint. What is squamous epithelium? Protection के लिए भी होती है or something secretions and for absorption purpose as well. Suppose there is something that has to be passed. Have you doubt? You have a doubt? Please ask me. Please ask me. I'm there. Serosa. This is made up of what? Squamous epithelium. I can show you later on all the types. Don't worry. I will revise for you. So this is responsible for that. Now there are some things, some materials like that, they can pass through directly from here, directly to the blood. Some medicine has to be, they go to the stomach, they can't go under the digestion, they has to be absorbed in directly blood, direct, yes or no? See, alimentary canal is what? From mouth to anus. If I'm having a fever, I take a paracetamol. In stomach, it got disintegrate. Disintegrate means what? Small particles are happening. The moment it enter into the duodenum, it has to be passed from this part to outer side because blood vessels are there. Otherwise, it's not effective. Are you getting my point? What I'm trying to convey? So this has to be made up of squamous epithelium. Thus, absorption can be easily happen. Okay, and absorption of other material depends on the molecular weight. If they have a high molecular weight, they go further. Getting my point? Yes. Now tell me one thing. What is the use of having medicine then? Mouth to anus, they are traveling. If they are not getting inside, then what is the problem? Paracetamol, antipyretic is there. If I have a fever, I can take paracetamol, but I can take only for 4 hours only. Why? The next paracetamol I have to take after 4 hours. Why? Anybody knows about this? Our kidney is responsible for continuously filtration. So once the paracetamol is taken, 250 gram, for example, 250 mg is there. Okay. Now it's into the blood, but our blood is continuously what filtered by the nephron inside the kidney. So kidney is what continuously taking the filtration. So whatever is there, urination will be there. During medication intake, urine is dark or some smell is there in urine. Why? Because it remove off all the molecules which is not required. Getting my point? Okay. So serosa contain which what? Squamous epithelium. Even in the nephron or kidney is also squamous epithelium. And a areolar conduit. What is areolar connective tissue? Don't say it is air containing. No, it's a gap filling tissue is there. Now let's go further. At the end of lecture, I'm going to tell you all squamous epithelium. I will revise you. Now muscularis. Muscularis is one who compose of a outer longitudinal inner circular muscle. Circular muscle means what? Trachea-like structure. Can I say that this is structure? So they can contract and relax, contract and relax. Okay. So muscularis is responsible for the peristaltic movement. So muscle fibers are smooth and have a network of nerve cell. Why there is a nerve cell in a muscularis? To give the impulse, to give the indication, right? Now submucosa. Don't read samosa. Okay. Now it consists of a loose connective tissue. Why? Vascular is a connective tissue which is rigid, little bit rigid. Okay. Now, this is a loose connective tissue, richly supplied with the blood and lymphatic vessel. Now, plexus is present between the muscular coat and mucosa that control the secretion of the intestinal juice. This is a plexus. What is plexus? What is junction? Huh? What is junction? If you talk about a junction, everything is meeting there. Similarly, it's meeting here and it's between the muscular coat and mucosa and control the secretion of the intestinal juices also there. Goblet cell. That's why I told you, columnar cells were there. Columnar cells are responsible for what? Nucleus is at the base. So they have a space. So they have a secretory cells over there. Now, mucosa is the innermost. Mucosa is what? Innermost lumen of the alimentary canal. What is lumen? If this is a pipe, this is a lumen inside. This part is a lumen. So it has a irregular foldings in the stomach called a, what is that called as a? Why there is a irregular folding? Why? I will get an Oscar award. Now please pay attention. What is that? Why there is that? Why? Irregular folding is there. Again, the answer is peristaltic movement has to be smooth, right? If you have seen the car wash, that has to be undergo all the flaps are there. Automatic car wash is there. Flaps are there. Irregular shapes are there to clean all the outer part of the car, right? And villi. What is villi? For this increment of the surface and for more absorption. Okay. Mucosa forms the glands in the stomach, that is gastric glands, and a crypts in between the bases of the villi, the intestine crypts of the lubricant. Okay. So now let's talk about this digestive glands. What are the digestive glands? Salivary glands, liver, and pancreas. This together act as, this is singly act. Okay. Salivary glands secrete the saliva in oral cavity. In human beings, salivary glands are three pairs: parotid, sublingual, and a submandibular. So liver, it is the largest gland in the human body. Who is the largest gland? Which is the largest gland in the body? Liver will be there. Upper right side of the abdominal cavity, just below the, what is diaphragm? What is diaphragm? What is the function of diaphragm? Okay, but what is the function? You tell me the exactly. Contract and relax to make sure the lungs should not get collapsed. Lungs should not get collapsed. Yes, lung cavity is what? The alveolus there. Alveolus is what? Air spaces are there. So it has to be placed from both the sides. So function unit of the liver made up of the hepatic cell. What is that? Hepatic cells. The secretion is stored and concentrated in the gallbladder. So liver is the one. Liver is the one who secretes, but it's stored into what? Gallbladder. Bile duct. What is bile duct? What is bile? Responsible for emulsification of the fat globules. Okay. So pancreatic juice and the bile together open into the duodenum by the common duct guarded by the sphincter of Oddi. Now, if there is a problem in this sphincter of Oddi, it will be create problem to what? Emulsification is not properly done and that transferred further. Okay. So this sphincter is very useful over here. Okay, just 2 minutes. Okay, 2 minutes, 2 minutes. So sorry, just 2 minutes. Gallbladder is there. Can you see that gallbladder common duct from the liver as well? So pancreas, it is a soft, lobulated, grayish pink gland which weight around 60 grams, consists of a exocrine and endocrine. Just 2 minutes. Okay, what is exocrine? Exo, outside. Endo, inside. So exo, it's a combination of exo and endo, both. It's called as a mixed gland. Yes, hetero, or it's called as a mixed gland. So excretion portion secrete alkaline pancreatic juice. Okay, so we'll take a break over here. Salivary gland is only responsible for secretion of salivary amylase, which leads to the formation of what? Starch. Digestion just started point, not yet completed, right? Not yet completed, just beginning. So liver, we just talk about that, right? Now let's move to the further. Okay. Now, endocrine secretes hormone insulin and glucagon. So that was this thing. I just missed it, I guess. Pancreas. So pancreas are responsible for what? Secretion of hormone insulin and the glucagon. Now digestion of the food. Carbohydrate, fat, proteins, and a nucleic acid. From where we get a nucleic acid? We know carbohydrate will be there. Fats, proteins, and nucleic acids. Nucleic acids are from DNA. Okay. Occurs in the food in the form of large and the complex insoluble macromolecule that is called polymers. Now we have a polymers. We have to break the polymers to make a monomer. Very good. In case of glucose is a monomer. If the glucose molecule combine, glycogen will be going to form, right? So these macromolecules are converted into the small monomers by the action of enzyme. So what are the enzyme? A short acting one, which is converting complex to simpler one. So in buccal cavity, teeth and tongue helps in a mastication of and the mixing of the food. Mucus in the saliva mixed with the masticated food to form the bolus. Can you hear? Okay, the word is here. Bolus is passed to the pharynx and the esophagus by swallowing or a deglutition. What is deglutition? Saliva. And what is that? Deglutition is what? See, now bolus is mixed with the what? Can I eat this tissue? But it is mixed with the saliva. It can easily go to the GIT. So saliva is deglutition helping in what? Act like a lubricant to for the peristaltic movement. Getting my point? What I'm trying to say. So your food is like this bolus. Okay. So chemical digestion of the food start in the oral cavity by the action of enzymes, salivary, amylase, and lysozyme is also there. Okay. Now, lysozyme act as an antibacterial agent. Why antibacterial agent? Mouth is an open cavity, right? Microbes can be enter. So something has to be there to prevent the bacteria. So salivary amylase is responsible for digestion, but the lysosome is act as an antibacterial agent in the mouth to prevent the infection. Which infection? Anything. Okay. So now salivary amylase breakdown starts into the maltose, not directly into glucose. As I told you, it's a cascade mechanism from starch maltose. Then it goes to stomach from maltose to more other monomers will be there. Two monomers will be there. Okay. So it depends on the thing. So mucosa of the stomach have a gastric glands having the three types of cell. Mucus neck cell that secrete a mucus. Why we need a mucus? Why we need a mucus? Stomach. Stomach lining will be protection will be there because HCl is producing. HCl is a higher concentration around 1 to 2 pH. It should not go beyond that. Otherwise, it will create a problem, right? Sometimes we get a severe burns. It look like a heart attack. It seems like a heart attack, but it's not a heart attack. It's a burning sensation. That is HCl is going, coming from the sphincters. So peptic or chief cell that secrete the proenzyme pepsinogen. Pepsinogen is secreted by chief cell. Mucus secreted by neck mucus cell, and obviously the parietal or a oxyntic cell that secrete the HCl. Parietal cells are responsible for the HCl secretion. Food mixes with the gastric juices due to the churning action of the muscular wall. It's a sac-like structure. If it's shaking like that, what's going to happen? It's going to mix. In McDonald's, if you must aware about the peri-peri fries, right? That powder comes and that sac-like structure is there. So what are you doing actually? Which mechanism you're using? Yeah. अच्छा चाइम बनाने का mechanism. Wow. So mucus, let's talk about here. Parietal. Now, see, what are the mucus and bicarbonate? Where is the mucus present? By the neck mucus cell. Now, mucus along with the bicarbonate present in the gastric juice play important role in a lubrication. What kind of lubrication should be there? That has to be passed on, right? So, and protecting nerve wall of the stomach from the action of HCl. So, mucus along with the bicarbonate. See, what is bicarbonate? What is acid? HCl. What is bicarbonate? OH group should be there, na? OH. So, acid and base neutralization reaction can be occur. So bicarbonates are there. If the majority of HCl is there, bicarbonate act like a neutralization over there. This point is very clear. Okay. Now renin. What is renin? Secretion by the kidney as well sometimes. Yes. So renin is a proteolytic enzyme found in the gastric juice of infants to digest the milk protein. Renin is not found in the adults that much. Why? Because when the baby is just infant, or we can say what if when the infant just arrived? So their organs are not that much developed. Like in case of plant, until unless chlorophyll is not developed, they're not able to perform the photosynthesis. So cotyledon is going to help them storage of dicot and monocot, right? Cotyledon is the one storage food is there. In case of chicken, all case a yellow color part. The outer part is albumin responsible for the food till that time is egg is not hatching, right? Getting my point. Similarly, during the infant's, we can say the period, the proteolytic enzyme, which is their renin. If the renin is properly not maintained in the body, the baby is undergo the jaundice. It's called neonatal jaundice. This is a neat question. Neonatal jaundice will be there. That's why baby has to be kept outside, or we can say in a glass. Okay. So let's go here and understand. The bile, pancreatic juice, and the intestinal juice are released in the small intestine. Pancreatic juice contain the inactive trypsinogen. What is now inactive, not yet active? Why they are not active? First pepsinogen will be working, then trypsinogen will be working. Okay, so what's that? Okay, released in the small intestine, pancreatic juice contain the inactive trypsinogen. What is this? Chymotrypsinogen, then procarboxypeptides, amylase, lipase, and nuclease. Now tell me one thing. Amylase was earlier there. Again, what is the use of amylase? That is a salivary amylase. This is a pancreatic amylase. At the last stage is going to be happen. Now trypsinogen is activated by the enzyme enterokinase in the trypsin. So trypsinogen converted into what? Trypsin, and which further activates the other enzyme of the intestinal juice. Why? Because see, environment has to be prepared in such a way pH will be 1 to 2 because HCl will be there. During the HCl is 1 to pH, trypsinogens get activated. Once trypsinogen is activated, other enzymes are also get activated. So can I say this is a cascade mechanism? Okay. So bile contains the bile pigments. What is bile pigments? Bilirubin and biliverdin. Bilirubin and biliverdin. What is the bile pigment? What are the bile pigments? Anybody know? Bile, salt, cholesterol, and the phospholipids which help in the emulsification of the fat. Yet. Now tell me one thing. Oil is not going to mix with the water. Now you must have available sopramazine or some gels. They are water oil base or oil water base. It's called emulsion. It's called as what? Emulsion. Emulsion is a technique in which if the water is a vehicle, you can incorporate the oil droplets. Or if the oil is a vehicle, you can add a water into that. So emulsification is the method in which oil can be incorporated into the water or water can be incorporated into the oil or a smooth paste will be there. Okay, that is called emulsification. ये कहाँ use होता है? Where this is going to use? In the case of fat globules to be digested. So secretion of the brush border cell of the mucosa, goblet cell contains the enzyme. What is that? Can you read anything? Succus ricus containing the variety of enzyme to complete the process of digestion. So we just aware about few enzymes. There are more enzymes are there to digest the things over here. Okay. Now we are moving to the almost last part. Just pay attention. Now absorption of water, minerals, and certain drugs will be there. I told you now between the lumen. Okay. What going to happen in a lumen? Lumen is there. Some drugs directly bypass those things. Okay, they go further because we want drugs to be activated at particular target, right? So absorption of water, minerals, and certain drugs, secretion of mucus for a adhering of a undigested food, and obviously lubricating it for a easy passage. Now absorption and digestion of the food. Let's study about this. This is a more important thing. Please pay attention. Absorption. I haven't say AD. AB is taking inside. AD is taking onto the surface only. So adsorption नहीं है क्या है? Absorption is a mechanism in which the nutrients are taken inside. So absorption is a process by which nutrients pass from the alimentary canal. Can you see that lumen? From lumen it's going to outside. So alimentary canal into the blood and lymph through its mucous membrane. What is lymph? If the blood is devoid of the RBC, there is no red color, but WBCs are there. It's called a lymph. Okay. Phagocytosis. Amino acid, monosaccharides, fatty acid, glycerol, vitamins, and water are to be absorbed. About 90% of absorption occur in a small intestine. Which part? Duodenum is a part. Okay, duodenum is part. Duodenum is the area of digestion because bile pigments come to onto that, right? Jejunum will be there. So, and rest 10% of the stomach, mouth, and the large intestine. The passage of different absorbent depend upon the concentration gradient. What is concentration gradient? Like glucose, amino acids, and electrolyte. Suppose this is your lumen. So here is the glucose present. Glucose want to go outside. Some has to come inside. Gradient has to be mentioned. For example, contraction and relaxation of the muscle is there. Sodium will be go outside. Potassium has to become. How many sodium go? It depends on how many potassium ions are coming. So that is called gradient. Okay, it depends on the activity. Yes. Diffusion will be there. Now mouth. Let's talk about the absorption different part of animal canal quickly. Mouth. Certain drugs come in contact with the mucosa of the mouth. For example, person is having heart attack. Okay. Nitroglycerides. Nitroglyceride is a drug to given at that condition. Now tell me one thing. It has to be take drug, then it go to stomach, then integration is there. Then that time person is almost died. So what we need to bypass this. So there is a drug called as the nitroglyceride. Tablets are there. You have to put here or just below the tongue. Just below the tongue, if you put that directly bypass all and directly go into the blood and directly go into the heart. So we are bypassing this system. Why? We have a lesser time to what to help the patient, right? Yes or no? So we can bypass the system as well. So there are some techniques like you have must seen in a movies something like some information is not to given, so they eat some drug and they died quickly. What's that? Nitroglycerides. That is that proper drug. These are the poisons, cyanide. They drink the cyanides. Okay. Why? Because they directly go into from mouth to below the lung, below the tongue. Below the tongue, if you keep anything, it has to be bypassed. Getting my point? Like nitroglyceride, cyanides, it directly go into the blood. Now, tongue are absorbed into the blood capillaries. क्या है वहाँ पे? What is there inside? Blood capillaries. The network of capillaries is here. Now, stomach. Absorption of water, simple sugar and alcohol takes place. Now, small intestine. Okay, small intestine. Glucose, fructose. Can I say that small intestine in the area of absorption? Almost all is getting absorbed. Fatty acid, glycerol, amino acids are absorbed through the mucosa. Do you remember mucosa? Mucosa was there. Okay, into the bloodstream by lymph. Large intestine, absorption of water, some minerals and dirt take place is will be there. Now, what is the function of large intestine? About to finish. That is anus will be there. Suppose the person is not going for the excretion. Okay, he eat and the digestion is done, and in large intestine, the unwanted material is there. He is not willing to go for excretion process. What going to happen? Large intestine continuously take the water and it's going to create a problem because the hard mass is going to form. Yes or no? Yes. So disorder of the digestive system, the last part, pay attention. The inflammation of the intestinal tract due to the bacterial infection, fungal infection, and a parasitic infection caused by the tapeworm. कहाँ से जाएगा tapeworm? By the soil. In case of mostly the babies. Okay. Roundworm, threadworm, and the pinworms are there. This is all can be go by contaminated food as well. Okay. Now jaundice. Obviously, what is jaundice? We don't have a medicine for jaundice yet. What is actually jaundice? It is a disease of liver. Liver is called graveyard of RBC. After 120 days, all RBCs are cut down and the iron, spleen and both will be there. Both will be there. Most of the it's called a juices are coming from there now. Which gland? Which gland? Exorendo. Okay. So jaundice, the skin and the eyes turn yellow. What is yellow color? Why there is yellow color in jaundice? Bilirubin and biliverdins are not treated properly. So that is what is bilirubin and biliverdin? Now tell me one thing. After 120 days, RBC are thrown out. They go into the spleen or liver with the help of that. It's called graveyard of the RBC. After 120 days, every RBC is not working properly. The oxygen carrying capacity is less. So let's destroy them. So liver is a taking part of that. So what is going to happen? RBC destroyed. So what is RBC inside? Hemoglobin. Hemoglobin is made up of what? Iron. Iron can be Fe plus 2 or plus 3. Ferrous or ferric will be there. You can't keep the ions like ferric or ferrous. It can be react with the other tissues or the other cell. So it is problematic. So we have to cover it. So bilirubin and biliverdin are the one who keep the iron inside. Now that iron has to be go outside. That's why stool coloration of the human, the color of the feces of the human is almost yellowish brown because of this biliverdin and bilirubin. If they are not going out, definitely they get accumulated. So they can accumulate it here all over the body. Can or in the jaundice, what happened? The body become yellowish because of what? Those material has to be removed off. It's staying. It's getting accumulated in the body. Getting my point? So until and unless liver or spleen is not working properly, they can't remove properly by the nephrons or by the excretion method. Getting my point? So jaundice is there. So jaundice is actually, we don't have a medicine until unless liver is not working properly, jaundice can be treated. Now the last one is vomiting. Everybody has vomit, right? At least once in blue moon. What is vomit actually? Something is problematic inside the GIT that has to be expelled out. So which secretions are actually coming out? Bile. Till bile is coming out, or is it from stomach? Because body is getting contracting. What's going to happen? Everything is getting spell out. So vomiting, it is the ejection of the stomach content. Along with the stomach, there is a bile also there. Also will be there. That's a taste. Have you drink a water just after vomiting? The taste is pathetic. Why? Because the bile is there, alkaline is there. In stomach, there is acidic secretion. In just below the stomach, there will be alkaline secretion, right? So through the mouth, this reflex action is controlled by the vomit center in the medulla oblongata is there, right? So diarrhea, frequent diffusion of the liquid feces is known as a diarrhea. It reduces the absorption of food. Can I say that because of the heavy diarrhea, person can die? Yes, because the water content is losing. Once the water content is losing from the body, obviously the body is not able to withstand the other environment. So diarrhea has not taken, if it's not taken care properly, it will be create a problem. Now constipation. What is constipation? It's constipation. The feces are retained. I told you na, in large intestine is retained within the rectum as the bowel movements occur irregularly. So till that time it's retained, what's going to happen? It's become harder and harder because water is getting what? Absorb, reabsorb. So hard mass is there. After the hard mass, when you try to remove from the body, definitely there will be formation of the piles or feces because it's going to going to create a cuts on the intestinal tract. No, not intestinal, the anus part, right? So indigestion. What is indigestion? Digested part are not there. So incomplete digestion usually accompanied by the one or more of the following symptoms: pain, nausea, vomiting, heartburn. What is heartburn? Burning pain. Why? Because of the SCL is coming out there. Okay. Acid regression, accumulation of the gas and escape gas from the stomach. Now suppose I'm suffering from acidity. What should I do in that case? Okay. What is that? Eno or baking soda. But if I'm continuously have acidity, that means my sphincters are not working properly. Ideally, I should think that what we do, acidity is there, heartburn is there, heart chest pain is there. What we do actually, we take a alkaline solution to reduce it. But actually, we are triggering more acidity. The moment you try to remove it off, it will be triggered. That means what? आप जितना कम करना चाहोगे उतना ज्यादा वो बढ़ेगा. Why? Because HCl secretion will be more in the response to trigger. Getting my point? So acidity will be more problematic, and if the acidity is a internal one, your all intestinal tract will be having the burns, and that is a severe thing. Okay, and you can do the operation as well. Why? Because your intestinal is responsible for absorption mostly. So if there is less absorption, body will be losing the mass. So you got the point.